and you're going to see something, similar to your session in mine. You're going to recognize some images. So I'd like to think that, great minds think alike.
Yeah, complimentary.
Just to feel better.
Complimentary sessions. I think.
So according to my clock, let's say, it's been 10 minutes. So I think, some people are here. There is.
We have some coming as well.
Mm-hmm.
Waiting in the lobby.
So in a couple of minutes, maybe, or seconds, I think I should begin. Nafi Hocam. Is that okay?
Yes.
Tuba Hocam? Okay. Are you going to record this session, Nafi Hocam, or do you want me to?
No, I can. It's in the pause version anyway, so I can just start recording. So that's going to be a full set of the video.
Okay. So when you start recording, I'm going to start talking.
I started already.
Oh, okay. I didn't see that.
And the stage is yours. I told you.
So yeah, people are going to see this. All right. So hi everyone. This is Aysu speaking. So to refer to Andy's first session, I'm going to say that my friends call me Aysu because that's my name, and I don't have a shorter version. But sometimes they'd like to, some of them want, they like to call me Aysush, Aysushko, and some teachers that I work with, they generally call me Aysun with an N in the end. So anything is cool, so you can call me whatever you like. So what we are going to do today is to play games, of course. And, I'm going to share some activities. These will begin with a get to know you activity because I'd like to get to know you. I've been seeing you since yesterday, but still there are some things that I'd like to learn about you. And I'm going to share some activities so that you can get to know me because this is our first time. We're going to play some vocabulary games, grammar games. Very briefly, we are going to look at some discussion activities and assessment. Plus, there is going to be a bonus in the end. So I want to begin with this picture. Generally, I actually don't like when people ask me who this is during, webinars or face-to-face trainings, but I wanted to, do the same thing when I had the chance. So if you know who this is, please type in the chat box, or you can, turn on your microphones so that, we can share. I'm rarely right when it comes to the pictures, but I'm sure you all know this person. So I'm going to show who he is. So he is Plato. So I can see some faces. Oh, yes. They all look alike. They all have beards and everything. So I wanted to share this quote of his because, he was born in, I think, 427 or 28, BC. So a long, long time ago. And since then, people have been believing that, learning needs something emotional. So I think games are the best way to create this emotion, not only for the students, but also for the teachers as well. When you play games with your students, there is definitely going to be something, that creates this classroom environment, like a positive environment. That's why I wanted to share that quote and to remind you, Plato. So to get to know you, I'm going to ask you, you probably know what this is, but still, if somebody wants to just, name it, feel free to turn on your microphones or again, chat box.
I know what it is, and I can't remember. My memory's gone.
Okay,
I can't remember the word in English.
Don't worry. This is...
Is it the language for
Morse code?
It is the Morse code. Yeah, it is the Morse code. So I knew, what, Morse code looked like. So I knew that, there are some dots and dashes. But while I was, preparing this presentation, I learned that those dots and dashes are also called dits and das, D-A-H. So that was new for me. And I also got to learn that, if you want to end your sentence with a question mark, it is a long one. So you can see 2 dots, 2 dashes, 2 dots again. So I would probably wouldn't prefer to use a question mark or parentheses if I had to use International Morse code. So you don't have to learn all of this. You just need to know A, B, and C for this activity. So I'm going to take a picture of this screen, because I still haven't memorized what A, what B, and what C. I recommend you do the same, because you're not going to type in A, B, or C. You're just going to type in the equivalents in the Morse code. So I'm going to ask you 3 questions. And if you choose one of the answers, please type it in the Morse code in the chat box. So the first one is very easy. How old are you? Maybe you don't like this question. I don't either, but still, here it is. So let me check the chat box. So Tuba Hocam is B, and Cansu Hocam is A, above 70. We don't have that answer, but you can choose C, Nafi Hocam. Rabi Hocam is A, very, very lovely, young people, perfect. We all have young people. B, we don't have C's, maybe. Oh no, we do. Yeah, B's, mostly B's, I think. So we are really, young. But it doesn't mean that, even if you're C, it doesn't mean that you're old. We are all young. I know that. So there is 3 dots, but I don't think that means anything for me. It doesn't have. Songin Hocam is C. Perfect. Okay, the next one. I'm going to move on to the next one. So, but how old do you feel? So you may be A in the first one, but now you may be A again. So let me see. Oops, sorry. There is something wrong with my. I'm sorry. I have to stop sharing and share again. Sorry, and thank you for bearing with me. And yep, again, the second question. And I am going to check the chat box. Okay, so we have A's. Sorry, this is the third question. What's wrong with my presentation? We did this. Okay, the second one. So do we have any C's amongst us? Probably not. Mostly B's. Perfect. And A's. I'm glad that I don't see any A's. Maybe 1 or 2. That's right. Okay, the last question is that why did you become a teacher? Is it because you love teaching, or you want to change the world for the better, or all of the above? So there is A, Cansu Hocam is A. C, all of the above. It's good to see that you love teaching. Otherwise, it will be difficult, this job. Okay, cool. C is all of the above. It's nice to have this power to change the world for the better, even if with only a few kids. See, okay, thank you for joining me with this game. We are going to play more. So now it's time for you to get to know me. So I have this picture. Unlike Andy, I'm even worse than him at drawing. That's why I chose this picture. I think Arzu Hocam mentioned that maybe they could show some of their pictures. So I chose. So we had the same thinking maybe. So where am I in this picture? And what am I thinking? And am I holding something? If yes, what is it? And why it is in my house? You're at home, yes, because you can see the curtains are the same in the picture, and I was sitting on in the same spot while I was taking this photo, holding a cat. Yeah, maybe you're holding your cat. Yes. Okay, let me show you. So you guessed it correctly. So I'm holding my cat in this picture. Actually, I don't like saying he's my cat, because I feel like I'm more of his person generally. I don't know if you're living with a cat or a dog. I know Andy is living with a dog, but dogs are different. I think if you are living with a cat, it means that you are owned by that cat. So everyone who lives with a cat knows that. So why is this cat in my house? Is that actually I never wanted to live with a cat, but one night about 3 years ago, I was walking home, and it was a rainy night, and this little creature started to follow me, and I said, shh, go away, and he didn't go away. And then I thought maybe he's cold, and I wanted to just spend the night in the apartment building. But then I live on the 3rd floor, but then he creeped stairs with me, and he was only like 2 months old. And then he came into my apartment, and since then we've been living together. So I'm a cat person now. So anything can happen, even though you don't want that thing to happen. And I wanted to show this to you because he may jump in anytime and start biting me. So don't worry at all. So the next activity, again, for you to get to know me. But of course, you can create word puzzles for anything. So any vocabulary revision or introduction, you can definitely create word puzzles, but I wanted to just create one so that you can get to know me. So for this activity, I want you to, Zoom has this annotation feature, which means that you can draw something on the screen. So it is on the top side of the Zoom screen. When you go there, you can see that this annotate feature. So click on that, and you're going to have a something like a pen, a virtual pen, maybe we can say, and you can draw lines horizontally, or maybe not lines, but circles. That's even better. Thank you. Yeah, I can see the names, but if you like, you can. If you don't want your kids to share their names, you can prevent that happen. You can you can just click on that little part where you can just. Actually, that is not the word that I wanted to be there, but it's just there. It wasn't me. And there is one word that is diagonal. So let me see who is going to find it. I don't know what NAF is though, but yeah, tab, it wasn't me again. So there are some words that you can see. It is not you, but it was created just by the this tool. That's lovely. Naf was your nickname. Okay, Naf, perfect. So we have something in common, kind of. So thank you very much for this. I'm going to take a screenshot of this, and I want to share this activity on my social media account, but I assure you I'm not going to share your pictures or anything, so don't worry at all. Okay, so I'm going to clean the screen because it will stay if I don't do that. Clear all drawings. Okay, so thank you for joining me again. So these were the words that are related to me. Some of them, of course, we are all even more complicated than this. So if you want to use something online, I chose this one because I like things that are childish, more colorful, and easy to use. But if you are not like me, and if you want to share this tool with your students so that they can share their own puzzles, maybe you can choose something more serious, just like the wordsearch.com/maker. And there are also some other tools online. So just type in word search generator or word search maker. You can find even more, but I just like these two. So this is to do this activity online. And if you want to do it in class with your pen and pencils, as Andy said, a pen is a very technological tool, so you can use it. I tried to do it myself, but it doesn't sound, it's easy when you do it online. You just type in the words that you want to use, and it automatically creates all the other the letters. But when you do it with hand, it is really difficult. Actually, it was for me. So first, what I did was, draw these square and little squares in it. Wrote what I wanted to write, what I wanted to write, and then this is a difficult part. To randomly write the letters, for me, it was really difficult because I can only think of the same letters. That's why in each little square, I had to count the alphabet, like A, B, C, that song. So to make it a little bit more, diversified. And this is the end product. So this for this part of the presentation, I'm going to ask you. So I know that you play games, and I know that you're aware of many different tools, either online or not online. So why do we play games in general? If you want to share your ideas, you can unmute or type.
They're making the learning process more enjoyable.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Not even only for the kids, but for teachers as well. I mean, as teachers, we also like to participate, maybe. Any other ideas?
And also they get rid of the filters, like the filters that are like barriers to learning. So
exactly. To engage students, just hocam just typed in. Exactly. So, we have the same ideas and competition as well. If you, put some, implement some rules, and if you, create some winners and everything. So it also, some people, some students also like competition. So these are my ideas. It also games also increase class cooperation, and they alert attention. So even if they are not paying much attention to you or to your lesson, they are immediately into the lesson once you say, okay, let's play a game. And of course, they are simply fun. So when do you usually play games?
sometimes towards the end of the class.
Mm-hmm.
Or sometimes in the beginning of the class.
When students
Just
get bored.
as warm up, kind of.
As a transition between
Mm-hmm. Or maybe sometimes to introduce a new topic. It may be vocabulary and everything. Yeah. Okay. So if you attended yesterday Nick's session, he was also talking about Hattie and his research, John Hattie. I'm also into Hattie's work, and I totally agree with this statement about learning. That is a more a combination of phases, and an often needed requirement for learning to occur is some form of tension, realization of not knowing, and commitment to want to know and understand. I totally agree with this, but I also think that maybe he wasn't, thinking about, this when he was writing these sentences. He wasn't thinking about games per se, but I think that games also have these phases as well. So when you're playing a game with your class, with your students, they don't know, what kind of game it is, or are they going to win, or do they, can they answer all the questions? So this creates some kind of attention. Sorry. And once they start playing, they may realize that they don't know some of the words or some of the tasks that you're asking them to do, and this may create a commitment so that they can win for the next time. So this may create something, kind of a commitment to know and understand. So I totally think that this notion of learning can be applied to games as well. So the first game about vocabulary is for this game I chose this part. Maybe you've done this in class, some of you. So this is from American English Files, 2nd edition, level 2, unit 1, and this is the end of the student book where they can see the vocabulary bank. So as you can see, I took it from the classroom presentation tool as a screenshot. And this is sort of a game, like, they need to match the definitions with the vocabulary above, and you can show the answers here. So you know how this works. But we can also turn it into a play that is called Password. Are you familiar with this? Have you played it before? Actually, you're familiar. You're going to understand what I mean in a minute. So these are the words that I chose from that particular unit. And in class, when you're teaching face-to-face, how you can play this game is to divide the students in teams, and there is one member from the team comes front, and he or she can try to explain whatever the word that they choose, but with only one word. So you cannot choose the second word or the third word. There is going to be only one word that you want to explain each word here. And if the team, that guesses 4 words, they are going to win. You can either play it with, 2 students, 2 in each group, like in pairs. So one can say the word, the other is trying to, get what the word is, or you can play it in groups. But in online lessons, what we can do, it's not probably easy to divide the students into groups and to share the words with them because they are going to see the words. It may be confusing. So what we can do is that to show all the vocabulary or all the words that you're going to play at once, and ask one of the classmates to be to volunteer and say only one word. To choose first, they need to choose one word, and they're not going to say which word it is, and they're just going to say one word, and we're all trying to guess what it is. So if a student can guess what it is, they can both get points. So let's play. I need a volunteer, and this volunteer is going to choose a word from this list, but he's not or she's not going to say what the word is, but just try to explain that word with only one other word. Anyone? You could make it a little bit easier with something like this. This is not a target one of the target vocabularies, but you can just add some spice into this game so that your students may be even more volunteering.
Okay, I can volunteer. I'm going to pick a word, Aysu, right?
Yes, but don't say what it is to us. Just say another word so that we can understand what that is.
Okay, it's going to be an easy one. Polite.
Okay, anyone?
That's kind.
Is that okay? So 2 points. 1 point to Bauja, and the other point goes to, I couldn't see who said the answer, to that teacher. So anyone else?
Me hocam, maybe Erhan.
Erhan hocam.
Okay. I have chosen the word, and I'm saying the password. It's share.
Generous.
I think so. Yes. Perfect. You could have said, diamonds, and we could say Rihanna. So okay. I don't know. The kids can have even more ideas. So I'm going to say one word, and I'm going to ask you to guess. Mine is blushed.
Shy.
Yes. So 2 points. 1 point for me, 1 point for you. So you've got many points, I think, to bottom. You won the game. Bravo. So I got this idea from Jimmy Fallon. So he played this game with his guests, and there are many different versions of it on this TV show. But I personally like this one. So you could.
It's a very good one.
Sorry?
It's a very good one. I enjoy watching that show.
Definitely.
I just remembered it. I just remembered this game.
Cool. So I think, we always, look for some tools, some games in some ELT websites or books, but there is also really good ideas on some TV shows. And I think Jimmy Fallon is one of them. So I highly recommend you just sometime, when you have time, just go through that. And if you want to show this video to your students, I recommend you to use viewpure.com or something like that, so that maybe you know this tool, but just for the ones that are not familiar with this, this is a tool where you can just copy and paste the YouTube link and put it inside this website, and it eliminates all the other videos that are next to the one that you're showing, and also eliminates all the comments underneath. So if you want to share the link with them so that they can watch it afterwards, I think that's a good idea to use ViewPure. Or if you're just showing it inside, in the classroom while you're teaching online even, I think it's good to show it this way, because if you're like me, there will definitely be some guilt and pleasure videos next to that. So maybe you don't want your students to see that, just like I did. So the next activity, the next game about vocabulary is what I called, roll the dice, but you can call it anything. And these are the words that are from, again, American English file, but these are from level 4, but units 2 and units 3. So the ones on the left side are from unit 2, and the ones on the right side are from unit 3. So if you want to revise vocabulary for the past 2 units, let's say, you can definitely play this game. And how we are going to play is that if you're in classroom, you can play it with real dice, and you throw the dice. If, let's say, the first one comes 3, the other one is 4. And you can ask your students to make a sentence using sunburn and customs together. This may be more for students with higher level of English, but also they can just make one sentence without using any connectors or anything. So I'm going to stop sharing this one, and I'm going to share my screen. Okay, so this is the ViewPure. So this is the free online dice.com. So when you click on the button here, it automatically creates some of the numbers. So 3 is the first one. Let's keep that in mind. And the next one is 4. I just said that. I think I said 3 and 4, and it's there. So this is a free website, as you can understand from the name, freeonlinedice.com. But of course, as you know, nothing free comes free, which means this website has some ads around. So that the ads that are on your website is related to what you were looking for before. So if you don't want your kids to see any ads, I recommend you to use, as you can see here, an ad blocker. That is an extension that you can use on Chrome that prevents your audience to see any ads on the screen. So as you can see, there are 4 ads here, but we don't see that because of my ad blocker. So we got 3 and 4. Let me go back to my presentation so that we can play the game. So 3 and 4, sunburn and customs. Does anybody want to make a sentence with these words?
Don't complain about students. We don't answer.
Yeah, it's a good way to understand how they feel.
Are we supposed to use both of them in the same sentence?
Exactly.
Okay.
Or you can, make something like therefore, or, because of that. You can, connect 2 different sentences too. Okay, let me show you what I wrote. Oh, you were saying something,
Go on.
sorry.
I'll try it if you want.
Okay, please, go ahead.
Okay, so which
3 and 4.
3 and 4?
Mhm.
Because I had severe sunburn, they wouldn't let me through customs because they thought I was ill. I had would infect people.
There you go. So I played it with myself before. So I got cough, the first one, and customs again. So my sentence was like this. I mean, if you have students that are A2 level or A1 plus level, of course your words will be a little bit maybe easier. They could just make one simple sentence with 3 or 4 words. They don't have to make longer ones. So this is, if you want to use it online, freeonlinedice.com is a very good tool, but don't forget to use ad blockers. For grammar, again, this one is from English File, American English File. I chose this unit. The game is about have you ever. So it combines present perfect tense with past simple tense. So you need to ask questions. So you need to make a statement, and then there should be more questions. So for this one, I used Twitter. I thought as a student. So I'm a student, so you can see me as a student. So I tweeted something like this. So I put some OMG. They may know these statements. I have bought my purse online only to discover it was a scam. So sorry. So this is from the grammar part. So bought something, as you can see me in the middle, bought something online and then discovered that it was a scam. So I just used that sentence. And what happened afterwards is that I got 18K retweets, 160 likes, and even better, I got a reply from Rihanna. So I'm obsessed with Rihanna, as you can see, for this presentation. So she texted me on Twitter. She said, "Hi, I'm so sorry to hear that." So she's a very nice person. And I call her Riri because we're friends. So I said, "Thanks." So she asked me when did this happen, which is one of the target structures of that lesson. So I said it happened last week. So she asked how much I paid for it. I don't want to talk about it. It's a really expensive purse. And she kindly offered me one of her own purses because she has many, as you can imagine. So I was really happy to have a new purse. So how do you think I did this conversation? Or is it real, maybe?
Using an app?
Yeah,
exactly. Kind of an app, a website. Actually, this website, I think Nick mentioned it before. He said it yesterday. So I used this website, Zeop, to generate a fake tweet. Let me share my screen so that you can see this website, Zeop. I don't know how to spell it correctly and pronounce it correctly. So you can use, you can generate fake Instagram posts or chats, or Facebook, or Twitter. I chose Twitter, or Snapchat. I'm not really familiar with Snapchat. I never used it, in real life, but you can try if you like, because they look really like real. The only downside about this website is that it doesn't allow you to use ad blocker. So you need to, pause ad blocker if you're going to use, but you don't have to show it in classroom. You can just tell your students, there is this website where you can do this and that. You can just show, the screenshots that I just shared with you, and they can go and, figure out how they can do that. So this is the part where they can, create it. You can delete these parts. I don't like, talking like, hey, bro, that's not my style. So you can just enter your name. Oops. And create your fake tweets. So I created ISO tweets. You can be more creative for sure. And if you want to, choose header visible, footer visible, these ones, I mean. And you can choose a profile image. just like this. And if you want to share the message image just like I did with the purse, you can also type in then your message here. And when you click on share, you're going to see that here. And once you finish with your let's say dialogue, you can save your chat just like I did and share with anyone you like. So I like to use it, and I created many fake WhatsApp messages and everything just to irritate my friends. So you can also do that. That's a great way to do that, or just to surprise them. And the other one is the emoji stories. So do you know? We all know what emojis are probably, and you probably are using them in your daily lives. But do you know what it means? And what language does it come from, that the word comes from?
Japanese, isn't it? Is it Japanese?
Japanese, exactly. But do you know what it is? What it means?
Emotional something?
Okay, let's see. So apparently, stands for picture, moji means letter or character. And this activity, again, can be played online with this website, birdseed.com. Let me share that website so that we can play the game. I know that you want to play the game with me. So this is the website, random emoji generator. So when you just go to this website, it shows you, just random one of the emojis, but you can change it with start over. So who would like to begin the story? So our story begins with this laughing cat image. Can you make a sentence with that? Or maybe I should begin.
Where are we going to type it?
You're not going to type it. This is a speaking activity.
Oh, okay.
Or if you want to type in, you can just type in the chat box.
Okay.
But it may take much time, so I don't want to do that.
Okay, it would be great if you start, so that we see how.
Okay, so let me start over. So one day I was very sad, and then
I decided to do some yoga.
okay,
Heal myself.
and then
I try to take up recycling.
cool. Then you could also say but or some other stuff. So after I did
Is this
some
a candy?
Then I went outside and had some marshmallows.
Okay. And
I thought the best way to feel better was to travel.
okay, cool. But or so, which one would you prefer?
But I couldn't catch my plane, so I had to go by lorry.
Maybe you hitchhiked.
Then the lorry broke down, and I had to take the. That's not a ferry, but this is like
Boat, I
a
think.
boat, right? Yeah.
I would say boat. And what happened?
On the shore, I saw a place where people were having so much fun, and I started to play bowling with them.
Okay. Then what happened?
I finally felt so relaxed and happy.
You could kiss everyone, or you could just kiss yourself. And something else happened. What happened?
And on the way back home, I met a little turtle and decided to take it back home.
But
I noticed that it was not a good idea.
this is the last one. Okay, let's make it the last one. It goes forever. And in the end, let's say.
In the end, I congratulated myself because I had a lot of fun while trying to feel better.
Perfect. Thank you. And it goes on and on and on and on. So it doesn't matter how many students you have in one classroom, everyone can have a chance to say something. It doesn't have to make sense. So we adults generally try to make sense. But I mean, when you ask your students, they may, and you can say, just go wild, be as creative as possible. It doesn't matter what they say, as long as they use the correct grammar and correct vocabulary. And this is also a nice chance to maybe do some error correction on the spot. So you can, did you do that? Or if they misuse some grammar rules, you can always paraphrase it so that they can understand their mistake. So we used past simple tense for this game, but I think you can use any kind of grammar tense, just like future tense or anything. Okay, thank you. Let's look at the next activity. I prefer to use this website. I think it's simple and it is more organized, and there are less stuff around. But there are others too. Mostly people may prefer these two as well. But I recommend the one that I just showed you. You can check if you think these are better for you and your students. You can just go with that. So as for the discussion, we're not going to go deep into this one because I know that you have been using some tools, but I chose this one. Just like you may remember this image from Andy's session. He chose the exact same image. So I'd like to think that great minds think alike. Or not, I don't know. So this is from QSkills. You may have you may have done this unit before, but for classroom discussion, so there are some questions in this unit, and how do you do that generally with your students? So I chose this question. So how do you begin your lesson with this question? Do you do class discussions, like you throw the question and they answer by unmuting themselves? Maybe sometimes. Okay, there's something on the chat box. Where is my chat box? While I was trying to find the chat box, I clicked on the...
I can tell. Sometimes
okay.
I use Answer Garden.
Ah, perfect. I was going to talk about that. Cool. Mm-hmm.
Erhan Hoca says Padlet, then Ayşe Hoca says Jamboard.
Yeah, you mentioned you use Jamboard in your lesson. So you can use, word clouds that are in Menti so that your students may learn from each other. If they are shy or they don't know how to answer, they can see each other's answers on menti.com, so you know how to use that. I'm not going to go deep into that. There is also Answer Garden that I really like. That is, now I can see the chat box. Padlet, Jamboard, yeah. I also like this Answer Garden as well because it's simpler. Because you don't need to, type in the code or something. You can just share the web link and they can start typing on it, and you don't see who is typing what, but you can see what is the most popular answer, just like in Menti. And when you move your cursor on one of the answers, you can see how many of your students answered that. So maybe you can start a new discussion. So why do you think sleep? So I played it with my friends. They mostly thought that sleep is the most important thing. So it may differ in your classroom. So let's do some reflection very quickly, maybe. So I'm going to share 7 questions. And the first one is, did you enjoy the games that we have played so far? I hope the answer is yes.
Yes, of course.
Yes.
Why? Why do you think you enjoyed them? Or not, maybe. You can also share that as well.
They were interesting. For example, emoji one, we were thinking about the funny emojis, and trying to make up a story. And the others are very useful. I mean, we played the games as if we are students, but at the same time, we were thinking as teachers how to make use of them in our classrooms. And when we are making plans, instead of doing the same thing over and over in the class every day, we can add nice touch with those games to our students. Yes, Price.
Thank you for your answer, and I think that's a really great point for you to say that you were thinking like students as well as teachers. So I think that's great. So do you think these games need lots of preparation time?
No.
Or you can just click on them, or even with the password game, you don't need to create even a PowerPoint just like I did. You can just show it through your classroom presentation tool.
They don't require more time than usual lesson preparation.
Yeah. So I'm not going to go into how else you can play this game, but I'm going to let you think that maybe you probably, and I'm sure you have wonderful ideas how you can implement these games even more into your lessons. So as for the assessment, while you're teaching online, let me ask you how you assess your students. Do you use online tools or?
We have Portfolio, and one of the testers can answer this question as well. I don't want to be the one who answers all the questions.
I prefer that, but yeah, I understand.
Please, testers, one of our testing members, I would be very glad if they answer it.
We have online exams, also online portfolios, writing tasks, speaking exams. So we use different kind of tasks to assess students.
Yesterday, during Nick's session, I think Merve Hocam, I don't know if she's with us today, I think she mentioned Socrative. So I don't know if you have all tried this. You may be familiar with the name, but maybe you haven't tried it. We are going to play a little game together so that you can have a little bit more perception of what Socrative is. But before that, I'm going to ask you about this image. What comes to your mind when you see this?
Cinderella.
Cinderella's shoe.
Exactly. Cinderella can be, one of my favorite stories. That's why I chose this one, even though I don't like the ending. But I sometimes feel like Cinderella myself because, in the days of yore, let's say, before pandemic, we used to go out and have fun, party, but come home and do some housework the next day. So I feel like, Cinderella most of the time. So can anyone tell us the story in 2 or 3 sentences?
I can.
Okay, thank you.
So Cinderella is a poor girl, has abusive stepmother. She went to a ball once, meets a prince, and they fall in love, but she forgets her shoe there. And then the next day, Prince tries to find the girl, and they meet right at the end. I totally forgot the ending of the story, but they meet, I guess.
No, don't worry, because you're going to find out that's great, actually. It's like, we talked about this before. You're going to find out in a minute. So I'm going to need you, if you have Socrative on your mobile phones as the app, you can use that one. But before that, I need to mention that for those who are not familiar with Socrative, there are 2 versions of it as the app or the website. One is for the teachers, so you can download the app as the teacher, or you can ask your students to download the app Socrative for Students. So there are 2 versions of it. So I'm going to ask you to become the student, but you don't need to download the app. I'm going to share a link for the students in the chat box. You can just go to this website, and let me share my screen. Hope you can see my Socrative screen. And it's going to ask you the room name. The room name is Simsek 7157. And you can type your name as well. So what we are going to do is that, so on Socrative, you can create quizzes with multiple choice, true, false, and short answer versions. And most of the features of this website or of this app are free. So you don't have to, get pro to do everything. I think it is enough for you to use the free version. So you can create quizzes here. Oops. It's been on for a while, that's why. Okay, so you can use, to create quizzes here. There is this add quiz part. When you click on it, you are going to see multiple choice, true, false, and short answer. It's very easy to use, very user-friendly. You can just type in that. So I'm going to launch the quiz as the space race. That's why I'm going to choose the space race. I'm going to choose Cinderella. I created the quiz before. And I'm going to put you in teams, let's say 3 teams. And I'm going to choose, you can choose anything. And I'm going to choose the unicorn. We don't need the countdown. And I'm going to start the quiz. So you're automatically assigned the groups. So you can see if you are blue, magenta, or lime. Okay, some people have already started. So these, space race, it's still called space race, are moving when your students are giving the right answer. So you don't know probably your teammates, but it's okay. So you're still working together, but you're answering your own. So there are 11 people who are playing this game. So you could see, who is playing, who is not, because you're going to ask them to write their names.
I still don't remember the end.
Sorry?
I still don't remember the end.
Okay, you'll learn in a minute. So I'm going to finish the game because there are only 3 questions and there is one group that has already finished. But you can, set the time. You can tell them you only have 10 minutes, 5 minutes, whatever. So when you finish the game, I'm sure, and you can go to reports. So if you don't want to show the names to your students, that is a possibility. So if you don't want them to see each other's, scores, I mean, that's cool. But I'm going to show you. So Cansu is our winner. Wow, perfect. And you can show the responses, or you can just see it yourself. So Cansu has, answered them all, and Andy, needs some, and needs some revision, maybe about this problem, about this story. And you can see how many of your students have done it. And if Penguin, I don't know who that is, but if they don't type their real names, they are not going to get any scores. This is actually that simple. You can see the results, and you can also, on the right side, there is this export part. You can download the results as the Excel format, or you can just email it to yourself. And if you want to pay for it, the only difference is that there are the reports will have in the paid version, the reports will have some explanation. But if you don't want to pay for it, if you think that they don't need the explanation, you are going to give them the explanation anyway. So just ask them to you just go on with the free version. So about the ending, I said I don't like the ending. So let me show you the questions. In the end, this is the true one. The prince could not even recognize her without the cinders in her hair and the ashes on her face, but they get married anyway. So I wouldn't get married to a person who wouldn't recognize me the next day or so. But it's Cinderella, so it doesn't have to be correct. So this is the Socrative. Maybe you would want to try it with your students. There are also, I'm not going to show them in deep. There are also 2 of my favorite platforms. Sometimes, people, tell each other about all the new platforms, and it may be overwhelming. So it's okay to stick with your, the usual ones. But just so you know what there is around, there is this Test Portal Net, which is totally simple. It doesn't have any gamification, but if you want to just see what your students have learned quickly, that is the right tool. And Nearpod is something more complex if you haven't heard about it. You can create your lessons on Nearpod with slides and everything. And in the end of your lesson, you can ask your students to fill in the quiz and share it with you. So these are the two of my favorites. And the last one, I said there was going to be a bonus. I think I'm a little bit over time, but let me just show it to you a little bit quicker. So memes, you're probably familiar with memes, and you may see them around online if you're using Twitter or Instagram. But you can also create your own memes that are related to your class. Maybe you have some inside jokes with your students. You can definitely create a meme about that and share it with your students. So this is one of them that I created. So this is the picture of the little puppet, I think, is there. I wrote what is on the top. So me when no one answers when I ask what we did in our lesson. So if no one answers to your question, you can definitely share this meme. Also, there are so many different stuff. I'm going to show it to you, but these are just two examples that I prepared. Do you know this person? I don't know. He has more than 7 million followers on Instagram. He's called Dude with Sign. And he just does this. He has a cardboard and he writes something on it. They're generally, something currently what's going on around the world. And then he just holds it up in the street, and somebody takes his photo and he shares this. That is actually what he does, but he has more than 700 people following him. So this is what I wrote as my meme. So they may be watching TV instead of joining the breakout rooms. You can just, remind them kindly to join you in the breakout rooms. So this is the website that I chose. There are many other options, but I like it. I like this one better. So when you go to this website, it shows you what is the most popular one. You don't have to look through that if you don't feel like it. You can just choose the topics from here, or you can just choose, something, what is hot, what is new, what has been shared during the past 24 hours and everything. So I'm going to go with cats right now. And let's say this one, you may know this one, Grumpy Cat. He's really famous. So when you click on this one, it takes you to its own page. So this is something that somebody else did before. So when you click on caption, you can type in what you want to type in. So there is, you can type it on the top, you can type it on the bottom. And when you click on generate, it generates and you can download your meme and share it with your students easily. So this is just to create some classroom fun. You can ask your students to create their own names, their own memes, and I'm sure they can be really more creative. So this was it, sorry. And if your students, let's say, asking, what else they can do to learn English in a fun way, we have this website called learningenglishwithoxford.com, and there you can see some ideas, some social media accounts where they can follow and learn English even better and in a more fun way. So these are some of them. And these are some useful websites that we offer to teachers. We have Position Paper website where you can read articles and some research papers. We have ELT blog. and Teachers Club, of course, you may know that, OUP YouTube channel and Twitter account as well. So this is me, and thank you very much for joining me today. These are my social media. These are real ones. That Twitter account that is written there is my real account. So if you want to take this relationship further, we can follow each other on Instagram and on Twitter as well. Or
here, Zeop. It says Zeop. I so created it.
No, this is real for sure. You can see that it is real. And if you want a copy of this presentation, you can email me and I can send it to you. And before we leave, you know that in Oxford we value your feedback. That's why I'm going to share the feedback link, or you can use the QR code. I saw some teachers, using their QR code reader as well. I can't find the chat box today. There is something wrong with the chat box. Oh my God. Let me stop sharing and share again. Okay. This is the opportunity for the feedback. I appreciate if you could share your feedback. And you probably know the drill. When you fill in the feedback form, you're going to see a place in the end where you can type in your name, your surname, and your email address so that we can share your digital badge with you. And feel free to share your digital badges on your social media accounts. And I'm going to share this one again, and with my heart-shaped eyes. Thank you. If you have any questions or comments, I have time. We can talk, or I can try to reply to your questions. Thank you, Songül Hocam. I just saw what you wrote on the chat box.
Thank you so much. We had a lot of different ideas.
Thank you. I had fun. I hope you did too.
We did. It was a very enjoyable session, and I think we can use most of them while we are planning our lessons.
Hopefully. And if you have any other ideas, you can just drop me a line by just saying, can you see the filter on my head? It's heart-shaped. Okay. You can just say, I tried it this way, or I have this idea. Feel free to share it with me. This was really lovely for me. I enjoyed very much. It's not easy, to have 3 sessions in a row. Thank you very much for your participation. Hope to see you in person at some point. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Okay, bye-bye then.
Thanks, everyone. Thank you, everyone.
Try to get some rest.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you very
Have a
much.
great semester.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a great semester.